So without further ado, I will introduce Jill. Jill Edwards is an academic advisor at University of Missouri. She is a certified master naturalist and belongs to the Boone's Lake chapter. She became interested in butterflies a few years ago when a friend gave her some monarch caterpillars to raise. She was hooked from the start. And so today she will be talking about swallowtail butterflies. Without any further ado, take it away, Jill.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me, everyone. I love all butterflies, but my favorite kind of butterfly is the picture you're looking at on the screen. That's a spicebush swallowtail. I think they're the most gorgeous butterflies around. And I actually have a real one that emerged today. So we'll get it figured out so you can see it a little bit more closely. But I'm going to talk to you about swallowtails. And here we go. Here's what we're going to do. Learn about 5 common types of swallowtail butterflies. You're going to be able to identify them and the caterpillars. And then I'm also going to answer an age-old question, and it is this. Why did the woolly worm cross the road? You all know when you see those woolly worms crossing the road in the fall months, trucking across the highway, I'm going to tell you what they are up to. All right. And then I wanted to mention, if you have a friend that might be scared of bugs, a great place to start introducing them to bugs is to look at butterflies. Butterflies do not bite. They actually don't have any mouth parts. So they're a good gateway bug if you got anybody who's scared of bugs in your life. You can tell them they won't get bitten by a butterfly. However, some caterpillars do bite, so be careful. All right, swallowtail butterflies are really easy to identify. You can see the little tails on the bottom of their wings, and they have those to confuse birds as they're flying. The tails kind of look like insect heads. So if a bird were to get them and take off one of those tails, the butterfly can still live through that. And so there are about 20 kinds of swallowtails in North America. I'm going to tell you about 5 common ones. And I'm actually going to go past this slide, and we'll come back to it if we have time. It kind of goes over the life cycle of a swallowtail, which is about a month and a half long. All right, all swallowtail caterpillars share one trait, and they have a retractable organ. It's called an osmeterium. You can see the little horns coming out of this one. Whenever it feels threatened, those will come out, and it smells really bad, and it keeps predators away from them. It's harmless to humans, though. But I would like to mention that, and as much as you can, try not to touch any caterpillars or butterflies. They certainly don't like it. And you might have something on your hands, like if you pet a dog, maybe that had flea dip or something else like that, it could hurt the butterfly or worse. So enjoy them, but try not to touch them. First caterpillar up is the black swallowtail caterpillar. And you can see what their caterpillars look like. They have green stripes, some yellow or orange dots that run along them. You can find black swallowtail caterpillars on members of the carrot family. So parsley, carrot, they are very easy butterfly to raise because you can just feed them organic parsley. So that's what the caterpillars look like. And the swallowtail itself is a gorgeous butterfly. You can see after it's a caterpillar, it turns into a chrysalis. This is what their chrysalis looks like. They're pretty unique the way they make their chrysalis. It's kind of in a lineman's pose. Our next caterpillar, this is my favorite. So I showed you that picture at the beginning, the spicebush swallowtail. They have really freaky looking caterpillars. You may have seen one on spicebush. That's what they like. That's what the caterpillars eat. They start off really small, kind of looking like bird poop is what they look like when they're little. And they have a really cool way that they live. They get born on the spicebush leaf, and then what they'll do is spin silk along that leaf and roll up in it. So you can see that's where they hide in leaves and spicebush trees. And the eyes that you see on top of them are actually fake eyes. The caterpillar's eyes are underneath in the front, but this is a defense mechanism they've evolved to have. So it looks like a little snake. So any predator or bird that comes to look at it might think, ooh, I don't want to eat that. And so I think they're fun caterpillars to look at, watch them grow. And then when they get rolled up in their leaves, I think they kind of have a judgy look, like they're judging you. So I think they're a fun caterpillar to have around. And that is the real spice bush that I'll show you today. It's a spice bush swallowtail. All right. Spice bush butterflies, beautiful. They have this blue coloring on the wing. And you'll see when they make a chrysalis after the caterpillar, they tend to match the surface that they're on, that they make their chrysalis. And so this one's a little bit more green. It's on a leaf. This little one's on a older leaf, dying leaf, and it's turning a little bit more brown. So that's kind of a cool thing they do as well when they form the chrysalis. All right. Next up is the eastern tiger swallowtail butterfly. They are gorgeous butterflies with the yellow and the black coloring. And their caterpillars, they do have those fake eye spots, but I think they're not as intimidating as the ones for the spice bush swallowtails. And their eggs, you'll see all of these swallowtail eggs are round eggs, and these are also a little bit light yellow. So there it is a tiny caterpillar. Again, it's got that bird poop thing going on. And then as they eat the spice bush, they get bigger and bigger and look like this. All right. And then here's the actual butterfly, a gorgeous butterfly, and an example of its chrysalis right here. All right. Next up is the zebra swallowtail, another beautiful butterfly. Saw a couple of those last summer. That was very exciting. And their caterpillars, when they're younger, have a lot more black stripes on them. As they get older, they turn that light green with the bright yellow stripes on them. And then the eggs, this is on a leaf, but right when they come out, they're kind of a light green, then they turn into more of a darker orange. So that's one way to identify a caterpillar egg that's a zebra swallowtail. And the butterfly, again, a gorgeous butterfly. You can see they have really long tails. So beautiful to see them flying. Swallowtails fly in a very gorgeous way. There are some butterflies that kind of fly all over the place and fly crazy like a monarch would. These tend to just glide. So gorgeous butterflies. Next up is the pipevine swallowtail, another gorgeous blue butterfly. And they have very different looking caterpillars than the other ones that we've seen today. These are black with orange dots, look kind of scary caterpillars, and their eggs are a bright orange. And the swallowtail mamas lay them all together in little clumps, which is also kind of unique. A lot of times a butterfly, they'll lay one egg on a leaf and then move on to the next leaf. These guys put them all together and say good luck. And so that's the pipevine swallowtail. And the butterflies, again, absolutely gorgeous. I think I saw maybe one of these last year, but that flash of blue, a lot of times you've got a pipevine swallowtail. It really stands out. And again, there's an example of the chrysalis on two different kinds of surfaces in that lineman's pose. So that is the pipevine. And it might be our last. Yeah, okay, so I tried to make this really fast. So these are the 5 to review. And I think you'll have access to this PowerPoint, will they? To be able to keep this as a reference. But there is our eastern black swallowtail and the butterfly. Their host plant is a carrot family. So fennel, parsley, carrot is a good place to find these. Spice bush caterpillars, love that spice bush. And I have friends who have a restored prairie, my friend Kay, and then my friend Becky has a giant spice bush. So she's my source in the summer when I start raising butterflies. I'll go get that from her. And then there is the spice bush. They also have a host plant of sassafras. Tiger swallowtails, their host plants are tulip, apple, cherry trees. That's where they like to lay their eggs. Zebra swallowtails really like pawpaw trees. If you got any of those around, it's a good place to look for those caterpillars and eggs. And then pipevine, love the pipevine. And so there's that weird looking caterpillar that kind of doesn't fit into the color scheme of the others. And then that gorgeous blue butterfly. So those are the 5, and most common. There are about 20 different kinds of swallowtails in North America, but these are the ones around Columbia, Missouri that you're going to run into the most. All right. And then I would just like to mention, if you see a butterfly out in the world, know that that butterfly is not going to be around for very long. People are surprised to learn that butterflies tend to live, 2 weeks, maybe a month tops. Most butterflies are not around that long. And so if you do see a butterfly, I highly encourage you to stop, slow down, and watch that butterfly, because you might be the only person who ever does. And so that's pretty cool. So that's something about butterflies. And I promised I would answer, why did the woolly worm cross the road? And they are looking for a good place to hibernate. And they are the caterpillars of a tiger moth, an Isabella tiger moth, which is a brown moth. Lots and lots of moth caterpillars turn into just a brown moth. They eat plants, they grass, dandelions, they eat maple leaves. A lot of people think that they forecast winter weather. So if you find more of a brown stripe on them, there's going to be a mild winter. More of a black, it's going to be a terrible winter. But really, it has more to do with how old and how fed that caterpillar is. So the more brown they are, they tend to be older and getting lots of food. When they're more black, they are younger and hungry, looking for food. But you can still believe the winter thing if you want to. That is fine. It's a good tale. And then, okay, so they hibernate in the fall. In leaf litter, I actually have some behind me that haven't come out yet. And they emerge in April, so they're a little late. They need to come around as that Isabella tiger moth. And so now you know about woolly worms. We call them woolly worms here. If anybody's far away, you might call them woolly bears. I wanted to share with you one of my favorite books to look at butterflies. It is the Family Butterfly book. It has really good big pictures of what the butterflies look like, host plants, range. It's a good place to learn about butterflies and has fun activities in it as well. So that would be a book if you don't have anything on butterflies and want to get one. A great place to start is the Family Butterfly book. And that is that. I don't know if did I make it? Yeah, 15 minutes. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. I do have a longer presentation on swallowtails. So if you have questions, I can pull from those slides and answer those questions. And so let me stop sharing and see if there are any questions. Do we have any questions in the chat?
We don't have any questions yet, so feel free to type in the chat and on either platform. I do have one comment though from Marcia saying that is her favorite book too. So that is a great recommendation.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Good. And then this is, we can try to, this is actually a Spice Bush Swallowtail. Yeah. Tell me when you can see it in there.
I think I see it. Yeah.
Maybe. And they tend, if you've ever raised butterflies before, monarch butterflies, when they emerge, they're quiet. They go to the top, they drop their wings, they're very quiet, and they hang out until you let them go. And swallowtail butterflies, they emerge as butterflies, maybe like half an hour, they'll dry their wings, and then they want out of there. They want to be cut loose. And so they're butterflies where I open it and they fly out to get out of there. So, but yeah, what I did with my swallowtails is in the fall, they'll either come out as butterflies or they might not come out of their chrysalis. And a group of swallowtail chrysalises might overwinter. They actually hibernate. They do not fly away or go places in the winter. What they do is come in the chrysalis. And so what I do is put them in my butterfly cage. I hang them from the ceiling in my unheated garage. They stay out there all winter, freezing and thawing, which I think is incredible. And then right about now, late April, early May, they start to emerge. And so one thing about swallowtails, when they're emerging too, the first ones tend to be smaller and they tend to be male. butterflies. And so if you were to see one this early in the season, it might not be those great big swallowtails that you're used to.
Cool. All right, we do have one question, and this question comes from Jean, and it was asking, does the pipeline caterpillar bite or sting? Those, kind of scary looking ones.
Yep, they do not. They do not, but they sure do look like they would. Definitely. So nope, swallowtail caterpillar is pretty peaceful. They do have the osmeterium. I never recommend that you poke them to see that. It distresses the butterfly. But every once in a while, I'm moving them around and I miss somebody and I get to see it. They're not happy about it.
All right. Well, we'll stick around for another minute or two. In the meantime, I'll say, so Jill, I believe you sent me your slides, and I can put those up as a document, as a handout for this presentation. So those will be available for people to look at. Other than that, yeah. It was a great presentation.
And feel free, contact me if you have questions. I'll get back to you.
How many generations are in a season? I got another question coming in.
About 3. That's a good question. It can be 3 to 4, kind of depending on what the weather is like each year.
Awesome.
So they're coming out right now, so be on the lookout for them.
I know all the flowers are starting to bloom up, so it's a good time for butterflies to be coming out too.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Well, I don't see anything else going in the chat, so I will go ahead and close this session. I put Jill's email in the chat. If you have questions, you can forward them to her.
Excellent.
And then I will get that presentation put in the handouts, and we'll be all set. Thank you for attending.
All right. Thank you for my short and sweet swallowtail presentation. Enjoy the rest of the festival, y'all.
Excellent. Thanks again, Jill.
All right. Take care. Peace out.